providing me this opportunity. Good morning, everyone there listening to me. I think there are more than 40 participants I'm seeing online. So next 2.5 hours, of course, in between you have half an hour gap. So we are going to discuss on the life skills part. So we'll be focusing more on the teacher related life skills part because there are more than the 13 or 14 life skills, but we cannot focus everything because I have to do justice for whatever I do. So we start with that. Maybe we are focusing on only on 4 of the life skills which are important. So that's where we are going to continue. So whenever we think of life skills, understand one thing: all of us we use life skills. Without life skills, life won't move. But WH has given a list of such life skills just to what you call manage our everyday challenges and opportunities. That is more important for us because being teachers, we play multiple role and our professional aspects are very different compared to other professions. Our personal lives also we have to manage and nowadays we know that okay we are living in a competitive world and achieving success is another important thing and to have a healthy what you call lifestyle you require healthy relationship not only at home even at your what you call office or in the college or wherever you work and having all that the idea is to maintain overall good psychological and subjective well-being so that the overall quality of life would be improved. So why these are required and what is the importance of it? We'll be looking one into one. But the more you develop these life skills, uh, not an what you call not a tough job. Only thing is you have to think systematically. You have to manage systematically. So that's why we have got a lot of life skills. Uh, Life skills will not stop day one or day two or only our profession. It's a continuous learning. We have to practice and we have to have our own reflection. Then remember one thing when you talk about life skills, the more you acquire life skills, you have got more of personal growth and your so-called well-being would be high. And there, what you call, once you have what you call acquired few of the life skills, definitely there will be improved success in all what you call spheres of your life. It could be at personal level, it could be at social level, or it could be at your job level. So because remember now I think somebody is Dr. Anita M. Dr. Anita M. Please, can you mute yourself?
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the idea is here today we are facing a lot of challenges, and so much so that I don't know how many of you are seeing. Even there is a threat for our teaching jobs because now there is a AI based teaching, and already in Kerala they have started experimenting. Surprisingly, in Mysore, one of the school they have introduced a robot teacher or AI teacher. Now, this is where a day might come that a teaching may not require teachers like us. There could be a robot teaching. So, day by day, the challenges are increasing, and not only that, we are in a big mixture of things. I think those who are a teaching profession, you already very well know. Earlier, we were in CBCS. Later, it became flexible CBCS. Then later we got into NEP. Now we are into SAP in Karnataka especially. So we are actually there's a lot of changes are happening. Not only in the what you call education scenario, even at the professional scenario, even at the what you call personal scenario, lot of changes are happening. Invasion of technology, invasion of digital technology, especially has made our life complex. So the moment we study more of the life skills, I think it's easier to adapt in the future. So with that backdrop, this talk is arranged to start with what you call what WH has what you call proposed. These are the skills, starting with the problem solving, then decision making, creative thinking and critical thinking, self-awareness, empathy, interpersonal relationship, good communication or communication skills, stress management, and emotional management. Now, these are the things basically proposed by WHO, World Health Organization. Now, remember, added to that, now new one of the things are that now along with those, now there's a technology and digital literacy, which is also considered as life skills. So basically, it is a technological skills where you have to understand use common software, applications and devices. And I know nowadays those who are working with the what you call UGC-MS portal, those are doing statistical analysis, those are updating your marks or attendance. Now remember, all that requires a basic what you call technological skills where you need to upgrade yourself in what you call digital literacy. The second thing is online safety. Nowadays, you know what is happening in the what you call in the world. People are losing money. Their what you call their personal data is leaked. Now you have to be very careful. So online safety is also very important because your information may leak or go viral. So this will have a lot of impact. Then etiquettes in social media. Okay, many times we don't know how to communicate. So and how to best use our online spaces. Now, this is where the importance of technology and digital literacy lies. So, on the whole, we are having so many skills, but our today's talk will be restricting both the sessions on four of the following life skills. One is the critical thinking, another one is the problem solving, then management of emotions, where we are going to talk about especially the anger management. Then we are going to talk about self-awareness. One by one, we'll be going to discuss. I don't call this as a talk. In between, there could be some activities, online activities. So please participate. So it will be quite interesting. So we'll be directly going to what you call one important aspect is critical thinking. Now we do think it's not that we don't have a critical thinking capacity, but how best we can use, that's the difference. So when you talk about the critical thinking, basically it involves a few of the aspects. The first thing is to compare and contrast in a classroom situation or in a outside situation. So how we compare and contrast, that's where we end up with the critical thinking. So how to identify a good student or a bright student versus a dull student. You require a comparison as well as a contrasting. This will come with the what you call critical thinking. Then explain why things happen. That's the second part. And as for my observation, and I think you all of you agree with me, nowadays there is a decrease in the academic interest from the student side. And how many of you agree with that? When I started my profession, I think the student interest was so high, but I don't see that kind of interest nowadays. The interest has been diverted towards mobile and other what you call gadgets. Now, this is where a teacher should be able to understand why these things are happening, why the academic interests of students are reducing or diversified. So, this is where critical thinking is required, where something is more important than the academics. This is where one has to critically think. Students think there is something more important than the academic part. That's why they are more into what you call the mobile or screen usage and all. So what makes them what you call more attracted towards that and how to bring them back? That's where we need to explain. And being a teacher, you have to evaluate ideas and form opinions in a positive way rather than in a negative way. Madhakari Nayak HR, please, Madhakari HR Nayaka, can you? Okay, I request all the participants to mute your what you call mobile or the device because it will be unnecessarily disturbing others. So whenever I ask question or activity, then definitely you can what you call unmute your device. Okay. So as I said, explain why things happen and evaluate ideas and form opinions. As a teacher, critical thinking is required to bring out some new ideas and form opinions in a better way. And being a teacher, you should understand not only perspective of yours, even a perspective of your principal or even the student or the colleagues. Suppose one of the colleague doesn't like you, that doesn't mean that you are right or he or she is right. There is something wrong, and now try to understand the perspective, what is going wrong and how we can make it better. Then critical thinking leads to prediction, that you can what you call predict the future, what could be the future what you call events or happenings. You are good in that. You can say, oh, this student will be definitely good and he is going to what you call score high, or there will be a definite rank. How it has come? It is by a critical thinking. And think of creative solutions. This is very important in a classroom situation, because there are you will encounter varieties of students with the diverse cultures. So you have to manage them, and to manage them, you require a creative solution, because your teaching also should be in a creative way, so that it should be made more interesting for the students as well as more catchy, and they should understand. That is that once you do that, definitely we can sure to say that okay, you have creative solutions to attract the crowd or attract what you call your audience. So creative thinking involves so many things, and how you do it. One thing is evaluation, and how to evaluate, not by a subjective bias, because don't go by prejudice thinking. The moment you are prejudiced, the creative thinking dies. And whenever you look into an issue, please understand, don't look from one person point of view, think from multiple perspectives. The information which you get, situation or the requirement, your recommendations, okay, all that you have to what you call have a serious what you call consideration over it. And one more thing important in critical thinking is, those people who really think critically, they will not accept or get carried away by other statements. Understand one point. Sometimes it could be your own colleague or your own students might put you up. Sir, or sir or ma'am, you are excellent. Your classes are too good. There could be a motive behind. You should be able to understand. Or you will be unnecessarily praised for no reason. If there is a reason and praise, yes. But sometimes what happens? You are unnecessarily praised, but don't go blindly and accept them, because and don't go with that hype. If you have done it, yes, that definitely you have got that privilege or proudness for it. Otherwise, be careful, and don't get carried away by others and pressures. Sometimes what happens? Sometimes we work under the pressures or by other statements, that shows that you lack assertiveness. So you should have your own decision making process in a right way, so that it will not hamper anybody's growth. This is where you have to think very carefully. That's where a critical thinking matters. Now, what are the major components of critical thinking? Now, these are the few things where we are going to talk about the components, and we'll be discussing one by one. Starting with the first one itself is a perception. How do we perceive things? How do we assume things? What are our emotions? How do they influence our emotional thinking? The language part, how we use the language, arguments, fallacy, logic, and problem solving. Anyway, problem solving is another category, but it comes along with the critical thinking, so we can combine that. So these are the few components of critical thinking. We look into one by one. So what is our perception? Our perception is nothing but you interpret the what you call a signal which is coming from outside through our sense organs. So it is like how we receive and translate our experiences. So it is a significant filtering system, because at a time thousands of stimuli are hitting on our sense organs, and we will be very selective. So that's why there is what you call a significant filtering system would be there. Then it defines how do we think. Our perception can decide what we think. And as I said, our sense organs what you call play a major role. Uh, it could be smell, taste, hear, feel, or see. Now sometimes what happens is, sometimes some of the stimuli may what you call cheat us. So that's why there is a question: can we trust our perceptions? So we can might call them as illusions on the normal way. So sometimes the illusions which we perceive might give a other picture, so our perceptions may not be trusted sometimes. So perception is a major aspect. So we'll look into one of the example for that. I'm going to show a picture for a few seconds, and I'm going to ask questions for a few people. So please look into the picture next, and nothing to feel bad. I'm asking question in such a way that it is very simple picture. I think that's enough. I'm seeing Tejesh Kumar online. Tejesh Kumar, what did you see in the picture? You can be bold enough to tell. Unmute Tejesh Kumar.
The perception, how we receive and translate our experiences.
Yeah, I show you a picture. I showed you a picture. So what did you see in the picture?
Sir,
What did you see in the picture?
the slide I am seeing, sir.
I showed a picture. I'll show you again. Have you seen this picture?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did you see in this picture?
Sir, a bottle.
Okay.
A bottle and two persons engraving, sir.
Okay, so that's your version. Dr. Mamata, you are online. Can you hear me? Dr. Mamata, number 16.
A person is holding, sir.
Eh?
A person is holding a woman in the bottle.
A person is holding a woman in the bottle. Okay. Dr. Sarsa, number 28. Did you see something else there? Dr. Sarsa HC. Nilkant S. Wali. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, hearing, sir.
Okay, Nilkant Wali, what did you see in the picture?
Picture is not clear, sir, here.
I'll show you the picture again if you want. Okay.
Sir,
What did you see, sir?
Hanuman, sir.
Okay, you are seeing Hanuman. Okay, fine. Okay. We'll go to one or two more opinions. Anuprasad KR. Number 31. Okay, Anuprasad KR. Can you hear me? Anuprasad KR. I think he's not online. Dr. Babu BC 64.
Sir, slides change agila, sir.
Slide ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ ನೀವು?
Change agila. I just know it is changed.
ಬಾಬು ಸರ್ ಏನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
Sir, what you see in this picture ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಸರ್?
ಅದು ನೀವೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಸರ್?
ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ
What, sir? It's not bottle, sir. It's the pot, sir.
Hanuman, sir.
Hanuman. Okay, you are seeing Hanuman. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go back. And okay, one more opinion I'll take from another, what do you call?
Men and women, sir.
Men and women. Men and women.
Man and woman.
Men and women.
Okay.
Sir, I think men and women, sir. This is picture.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Now I'll go back. What we are discussing was about perception. I don't know how many of you are listening to this point. Perception.
Yeah.
Okay. Now all of you look into the picture. If you say you have seen Hanuman, if you have seen what you call man and woman, you have seen what you call any other structures. If you watch the picture seriously, how many of you are seeing there are 9 fishes in the picture rather than man and woman?
9ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಆಗೋದು. ಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಸರ್ ನಮ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ಡೇನ
Sir, there are 9 actually there are 9 dolphins in the picture.
That's what exactly I said.
Yes.
How our perception changes. Are you getting my point there, audience? Initially
Yes,
we thought man and woman,
Yes,
then
yes, sir.
Hanuman.
Yes.
But there are 9 dolphin fishes in the picture.
Yeah.
If you see the fishes, then you don't see man and woman.
Yeah.
And if you see man and woman, then you don't see the fishes.
Yes, sir.
So this is what exactly our critical thinking sometimes goes wrong. If you are
Yes,
critical,
sir. Yes, sir.
if you are critically looked at the picture, critically you are seen, now you would have seen only fishes. If I show this picture to a small child, the small child
Yes.
will not see what you call a man and woman. The small child will see definitely what you call fishes, because we are influenced so much by media and other influences. So first thing is for us comes either Hanuman or man and woman. So this is where we call how our critical thinking is affected. Okay, now we can mute all. We'll move further. So again, these are the few examples where you can see actually the two pictures which are seen, actually they are paintings on the road, but they look so real that one looks like a swimming pool and another one is like there is a big what you call this one is there. So all this what you call makes us what you call in an illusionary world, and our perception might change. And when our perception changes, our what you call thinking would change. So don't jump into conclusion whenever you see something. It could be their students or it could be their family level or the professional level. Whenever you see something, don't jump into conclusions. So that's where in Kannada there is a saying, Kannare Kandaru Parambarisi Nodu. Why? Because whatever you see may not be real, whatever you see here may not be right. So be careful about that. One of the aspects of this one, critical thinking. The second one is assumptions. So whenever think of assumptions, which is definitely central to our thinking part, it's implied. Remember, not all the time bad. Sometimes it is bad. Sometimes we think that some ideas are obvious. This boy is always like that. It's your assumption. This girl is always like this. Why we think? Because we have assumed. And the moment we assume, what happens? It makes us comfortable with the present beliefs. And it will not open up more alternatives for more thinking, how to correct them, or to have a generalization. Not all of the boys are bad, not all of the girls are bad. There are one or two, yes, there could be there in everywhere. So why to what you call assume? So assumption can also affect our critical thinking. One of the assumptions, we do one more exercise. Before going to the actual what you call analysis, there is a question for you, all of you. Whom do you like more? Is it Roosevelt or Churchill or Hitler? So this is a question for you, because how we assume a personality. So my question is, whom do you like more? I'll ask question for number 50, Sundaresh sir. Sundaresh sir, number 50. Sir, who is your choice? Roosevelt, Churchill or Hitler?
Yes, sir.
Who is your choice? I think I hope you are seeing the screen. Huh?
Hitler.
Hitler. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who is your choice? Roosevelt, Churchill or Hitler?
I think Hitler, sir.
Okay, your choice is Hitler. Okay. Madhav Swami, number 54, sir. What is your choice? Whom do you like, sir?
Sir Winston Churchill.
Churchill. Okay. We'll go for another opinion, sir. Dr. Vishwanath, number 39.
Whom do like
Hitler, Hitler, sir.
Okay.
Winston Churchill.
Okay. Now you have given lot of choices. Can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself now? Now look, please. Okay. Now look into the each one's characteristics. See, when we talk about Roosevelt, he was associated with the crooked politicians and used to consult astrologists, and he had 2 wives, and he was a chain smoker, and he used to drink a lot. That's the Roosevelt category. Come to Winston Churchill. He was kicked out of the office twice and never got up till afternoon and used opium or afim in the college, and every evening he used to drink whiskey, and this was the characteristics of Churchill. How many of you know about Adolf Hitler? Was a decorated war hero, so for others he could be a big villain, but for the Germans. And how many of you know he is a vegetarian? He never smoked and he had drinks very rarely and no extramarital affairs, but very much to his countrymen. Now understand how our assumptions went, whether it's Roosevelt or Churchill or Adolf Hitler. Sometimes just by knowing the names, we just judge. So one should not do that. So our assumptions might be wrong. So be careful about that. Then comes emotions, the third aspect. So our emotions, what you call, manage a lot. So what are these emotions? Sometimes we say don't be too much emotional, because part of everything what we do and think are emotions, and emotions are a personal barriers. Because you like a student, you may not punish. Suppose you don't like a student, you might punish. So this might happen just because of our emotions. But those who think critically, they do not ignore or deny emotions. They accept as well as they manage them. This is more important. They don't judge on the spur. They first accept and then they manage them. So that's where the critical thinking ability comes. And what happens? I have a suggestion. When we are very emotional, please try to understand our critical thinking abilities decrease dramatically. Now, that's why we usually give a pep talk or tips for the audience. So what is that pep talk or this one? So whenever you are angry, don't declare anything. Whenever you are too happy also, don't declare anything. Both are dangerous. When you're too happy and you declare some prize and later you are not able to make it up, maybe at home, or when you're too angry, sometimes what happens, you get in anger and you might shout, and those words may not be taken back later, because now without critical thinking, you're just what you call blasted the person or scolded the person. You cannot take it back, because if you're critically thought, what happens in the future, you shouldn't have done that or you wouldn't have done that. So be careful about that. Okay. So whenever you are emotional, you have to manage your emotions, but our critical thinking abilities will decrease. And that time we don't know what we are doing. Now, whenever you are in a critical thinking, what you call aspect, it helps to clarify our feelings and deal with them more effectively. So what happens when you critically think the issues, then makes you what you call motivate to action without motivation. Our reasoning would never get off ground. You are exactly thinking what is required. So you have to manage your emotions, which need the guidance of reason, and reasoning needs emotions. So don't act the moral of the story is don't act at the spur of the moment, because it might be dangerous. Then the language which you use. The next aspect in what you call crucial aspect in critical thinking is the language. Now, usually we say thinking and language, they go together because they cannot be separated. Three primary purposes we use language. One is information, persuasion, and explain. And language can fool us. The best example is nowadays with our students, you must have seen girls are using the word bro for the girlfriend, not the boyfriend. I think you are very much familiar with that. Any comments? Nowadays, girls use bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh?
They
So
are
look
using.
at,
They are using, sir.
yeah, it's a bro. Bro is not brother here. It is just a what you call a slang. And boys are using machi, not macha. Now what happens? The language can fool us. So, but language has got so affinity because it comes from the what you call language, and it's connected to emotion also. Think of the language which is being used in North Karnataka. I don't think anybody uses what you call plural there, everything goes by singular. Whereas the same language aspect goes back to the coastal areas or Mangalore, the language part is very different. Everything comes from the bookish Kannada, and the pluralistic usage of plural issues are more than the singular issues. And another thing I have to definitely say, how language can fool us. Especially again, I am giving a quote from the North Karnataka side. Those who are in North Karnataka side can clarify me. Sometimes I hear Mara hatyaka iliyana, the Mara iliyaka hatyana.
ಅಲ್ ಸರ್ ಮರ ಹತ್ತಕತ್ತಾನ್ರಿ.
Now this is where I get totally confused. On Mara hatta idana, ilita idana, ellidane. Because for people who are living on that side, the language is very familiar. And if you come to Mandya, don't feel bad, anybody from Mandya side, the language looks very rude, but it's only at the language, but their heart is too good. How many of you understood? I don't know about this. People say Mandya language is a bit hard language, rude language, but only in the mouth, but their emotions are very soft. So this is where a language also can affect our critical thinking. Sometimes we scold our students with the affection, not with the anger. You must have experienced this. So this is where language can play a major role, and language can affect our critical thinking. Grammatical gender already we spoke. Then arguments which are required in what you call critical thinking. Three basic elements are required in arguments. One is the issue, then the reasons, and the conclusions. So there could be some issue, and for issue there is a reason, and how do you derive a conclusion? Now that's called as argument. Sometimes it is a valid argument, or sometimes it could be invalid work. But when you think of a critical thinking part, the goal of critical thinking is a sound argument. It's a good argument, should have a valid argument, most have true premises. Means whatever you are telling, whatever you are giving, the argument part is really what you call having a true base for it. So that's where the argument matters. Now the fallacy, the reasoning that doesn't meet criteria for sound argument. Sometimes what happens, we reason it out, but the sound argument will not holds good, which will affect our critical thinking. It's an incorrect pattern of reasoning. But anyway, does not always mean conclusion is false. Sometimes it could be right. The best example I can quote from ads and editorials. Nowadays, the ads are so what you call catchy, but I put under fallacy. For example, how you are seeing the lines? Okay. So, which line is lengthier? Okay, all of you are seeing line A or line B?
Line A.
Are you sure, madam? Okay. Anybody else? Number 97, Shruti madam?
Equal, sir. Equal, sir.
Number 100, Shivrappa?
Line A, sir.
Huh? Line
A.
A. Okay. I'll go by whatever your answers, we'll discuss. Huh? Number 21,
Both are equal, sir.
Number 53, Bharati. We'll come to that, sir. We'll come to madam. We'll come to the answer. Okay.
Sir, both of them are equal, sir.
Bharati madam, you are speaking. Both lines are equal.
Both of them are equal, sir. A and B.
Okay. Yamuna Naik. Number 5.
Sir, yes, sir.
A or B, sir? Which is lengthier, sir?
Sir,
You are seeing two lines, sir, on the screen. Which is more lengthier, sir? A or B?
A or B.
Are you seeing the line, sir?
Yes, sir.
A. Okay. Anyway, we'll stop the what you call your judgments, and only few of you gave the right answer. And if you see, both lines are equal.
Yes, sir.
Only thing is the illusion. If you see the arrow marks, which makes your critical thinking in a in what you call it alters your critical thinking. But if you ignore the arrow and feather heads, now you see exactly down I have given the what you call the measurement. They're exactly same, but the illusion or perception what we are seeing there makes us usually line A is what you call lengthier than line B, but in reality it is not. Both lines are equal. So this is an example for such a phenomenon. Then the next aspect is the logic part. How do we what you call logic works in our day-to-day thinking, and especially in critical thinking. So two methods of reasoning we see. One is the deductive reasoning and the inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is what you call, we call it as funnel approach from large premise to the specific premise. From inductive reasoning, we have specific premises to large premise. So it's opposite. So in deductive reasoning, we reason it out through facts, certainty and validity which is happening true. Then you will have sound arguments and conclusions. For example, all human beings are mortal. So person X is also mortal. So this is a deductive reasoning because you are seeing a large premise and the fact is there is everybody is not this one immortal. All of them are going to die one day. So there is a certainty, and whatever the statement is there, there is a validity and it comes with the sound arguments. Whereas inductive reasoning is opposite. It's a diverse facts and it can be based on the probability. It's a like a chance factor, and sometimes you might generalize, and the hypothesis would also act there. So the logic could be of two ways, which is again contributing to what you call a reasoning part. Either it could be deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning, but both are important in what you call critical thinking. So there is a simple logic for you. Mary's mom has 4 children. First is called as April, second is called as May, third is called as June. So what's the name of the 4th child? Any answer? Quick answer. Mary's mom has 4 children. April 1st, May 2nd, June 3rd. So what's the name of the 4th child?
Mary, sir.
That means you are using a simple logic. But sometimes what they do? Without logic, they say April, May, June, July.
July.
But that July is wrong. That July part is wrong. Actually, it is the question is itself as the answer, Mary's mom. So the answer should be what you call Mary. Okay, this is simple logic. I am happy that okay, the answers are coming. Now there is a next logic. Think of this. Are you seeing the picture and the question? What is 3/7 of a chicken, 2/3 of a cat, and 2/4 of goat? Don't say biryani. Biryani is not the answer. So anyone, what is 3/7 of a chicken, 2/3 of a cat, and 2/4 of goat?
Measurements.
Sir, it's a logic and you have to find out something very specific. That's why it is given. That's why it's called as logic. 3/7 of a chicken, 2/3 of a cat, and 2/4 of a goat constitutes what?
Maybe biryani, sir.
I already said biryani is not the answer. I know you are going to tell that.
Sir, Chicago.
Exactly right. Who is answering this question?
Sir, 52 Shruti.
Okay, Shruti madam, you are right. I think now everybody is getting the answer. I am going to show the answer now. I think you can see the answer which I have highlighted in a different color. 3/7 of chicken, 2/3 of cat, and 2/4 of goat. Now it becomes Chicago. So it's a simple logic and looks very different. But if you really start critically thinking, you can get the answer in no time. So that's the idea. Good going. Okay. Then comes problem solving. Okay, which will be what you call having together with the next session also. No, nothing stops us. We will continue with that. So we'll be discussing more on problem solving in the subsequent sessions also. So in problem solving, we encounter day to day several simple and complex problems. In psychology, we don't say problems, we call them as issues, because issues can be resolved and problems can be solved. So how we do it basically in a better way, and those who are really using a good critical thinking part, first understand the problem. Many times we jump into conclusion without understanding the problem. That's very wrong. So first itself is understanding the problem. It constitutes a better way of critical thinking. Then the next part is identifying unknowns and knowns about the problem. So what you know about the problem and what you don't know about the problem. We'll have later strategies on this. Then how to solve this? Now you have to have different alternatives. Plan A, plan B, plan 3. You do it. Okay, plan B, A, B, C, D, E. Then you have to what you call weigh each of them, weigh pros and cons of them, and then you apply. You apply one of the strategies, you cannot apply all the strategies. Once you apply the strategies, you see the results. If the results are not working, if the plan A is not working, you go for plan B. If both of these are not working, you go for plan C. So ultimately, you solve the problem, and now you'll have a feedback. What is that feedback? Suppose you encounter the same problem again. Now you know plan A and B didn't work, so now directly you apply plan C. So the problem C is more appropriate when you consider, then problem A and B will be, strategies plan A and B will be invalid. So repetition comes whenever you encounter the same problem again. Then we'll be discussing more on the problem solving later. So that's why I've just shown one slide, but it's one of the component of critical thinking. Then what are the qualities of effective critical thinkers? As we should be being teachers, we should be highly critical in our thinking. So it requires what? Open to new ideas. That is more important. You cannot be sticking on to your traditional ideas. Open to new ideas. And don't be too rigid, because the moment you are rigid, your emotions are stuck. Be flexible, and that flexibility leads to change. So there should be willingness to change also. Then innovative. Can you generate your own ideas? Even in a classroom teaching, there could be innovative way of making the students understand than a traditional way of teaching. So each teacher will have their own way. It may not be only in the classroom, it could be outside also. Suppose a botanist can have a better job using his innovative approach, where he can go outside the college, and he can show the plants or the trees are around, and then he can explain what exactly the botany subject is, or the plant classification, whatever it may be. They can do that rather than just sitting inside the class and explaining it. And a teacher should be analytical, because he should be having a thinking part, which is more of the plus and minuses of each one. That's called analytic. Creative, already we are talking about. Assertive. You cannot be budging to each and everybody's pressure or this one. And the assertiveness here comes with the idea that telling no, or learning to say no when you really don't want to do it. So you cannot be under somebody's pressure, and under the pressure, if you do work, you will be taxed and your work will not be completed. Then you are not a good critical thinker. You should think, suppose I accept a work, can I do it, and which will not affect my performance. If it affects your performance, then you are not assertive. So be this one. Persistent is another thing. Is you have a goal, and it has to be it has to be continued. Excuse me, somebody is online, please mute yourself, please. Okay, persistent. You have a goal, and some people start with the goal with a big bang, but after some time they lose complete motivation, and they will not pursue it, and the goal is completely a failure. So don't do that. Be persistent. Once you start something, till it's over, you should use the same energy and all. A risk taker. Life involves a risk, but only calculated risk, not too much of risk. Without risk, nothing works. That doesn't mean that you have to take extra risk. A minimum amount of risk has to be taken, and that is another feature. If you take a minimum risk in life, that constitutes what you call a good critical thinking. Knowledgeable as a teacher, yes. The more knowledge you have, your critical thinking will be better. Why? Because the knowledge gives you a lot of feedback that what is right, what is wrong, and what you have to do. And this knowledge comes from your day-to-day experience, from books, from more studying, because knowledge is a part which cannot be stolen. It can be just stored, and this knowledge can add a lot to the effective critical thinking. Because when you got lot of knowledge, your critical thinking will become easier. You will not get confused. You can be a very good communicator also. You should be being an effective critical thinker, because based on all those characteristics, knowledge, energy, flexibility, open to new ideas, you can be a good communicator, where you can exchange the ideas through either verbal communication or non-verbal communication. That's what basically we do in the this one, what you call basically we do it in the classroom and our day-to-day life. Then resourceful. The moment you have got more knowledge and you are having a good communication, that makes you more resourceful. So resourceful is not just to just giving a lecture. Resource can be in various ways. And intuitive. This is what you call where the intuition comes with the what can happen in the future, and forecasting. And usually if you are a good intuitor based on the previous experience, I think the solution also could be easier. So these are the few qualities of effective critical thinkers, and try to acquire these qualities. Definitely you can be a good good and an effective critical thinker. But what hinders our critical thinking, that's also more important. So there are few things which hinders our critical thinking, our perceptions. So already you must have seen how our perception leads to blocking of our critical thinking. Then religious upbringing, don't take anything personal. Okay, the religious upbringing also will hinder our critical thinking. I don't want to give any examples for that. I don't want to make any controversies upon that. But how we have been brought up by our religion also has influence on our critical thinking. Attitude of the society is another factor which has influence. Then the cultural traditions over the years, over the decades, over the centuries, we have developed a lot of traditions. These traditions definitely hinder our critical thinking. Biases which are seen. Then the personal environment also contribute to critical thinking. One of the thing is advertising. You know how much advertising hinders our critical thinking. Especially it is endorsed by the celebrities. So when you talk about the celebrities, especially the film actors or actresses, they come for advertisements, and they give ads. For example, I'm very much upset with the ads given for these betting games from the cricket players or the cinema actors or actresses. I think already you're seeing on the TV and all. Have you seen that? Whether it's cricket bettings, or whether it is online rummy gaming. Have you seen where celebrities are coming and endorsing, where cricket players are coming and endorsing these games, or this one? And imagine the threat behind it. How many families have been were totally destroyed? So much so that I was seeing in TV yesterday, they said ban online gaming. Why? Because a person who continuously bet and he lost lot of money and he had to commit suicide. But imagine the old parents with the old age Nobody is to take care of them. Only the breadwinner is died. Now, this is where the critical thinking of that person has been hindered by the endorsement. On a simple level, on a lighter level, let us see what you call, this one what you call endorsements and celebrities, how it will what you call hinders our critical thinking. Now, if you see the picture now, what do you see here? Any idea?
Sir, Einstein picture.
Sir, don't. Okay, are you sure you are seeing Einstein picture?
Yes, sir.
All of you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sure, madam?
Sure, sir.
Okay, I'll reduce the picture now. And I'm not going to do any magic. I'm just reducing the picture. What you are seeing, madam, now? What you may see me, sir?
Sir,
Lady.
same picture.
Huh?
Sir.
I have reduced the size.
Sir, little girl child, sir. Little girl child.
See, with the bigger picture, you are seeing Einstein. With the smaller picture, you are seeing a female celebrity. Any idea who is this?
Julia Roberts, sir.
Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. See how our perception changes just by a distance. See, now I increase. Now you are seeing typical Einstein. Right? So when I reduce the picture changes. Now this is what you call how our what you call perception can be hindered just by a distance itself. Because I cannot what you call make you go front and back. Just I'm keeping as it is. Or to make it more what you call serious. Now look into the next picture. So at least concentrate. There are several circles if you are seeing. Concentrate on one of the center of the circle. See exactly what is happening to you.
Revolving, sir. Rotating.
And is that center is coming and hitting you?
Yes, sir.
Madam, I'm not doing anything. It's a still picture. So some people are seeing a revolving movement. Some people see clockwise movement. Some see anti-clockwise movement. Now, actually, I'm not doing anything. It is just a picture. Now, this is how these kinds of things can hinder our what you call critical thinking. Go to the next. Focus on one of the what you call dots, either yellow or red, and just look into the stairs. If the stairs are changing their positions,
No.
watch carefully. Madam.
Yes, sir.
Watch carefully. Definitely there is a switchover of what you call stair position. Are you seeing it?
Painting, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Painting.
It's not painting, madam. It's called as illusion part. It's called magic stairs. So you see sometimes the stairs are opposite. Sometimes you can get down. Sometimes you cannot go up. So all this comes because of how do we perceive. I don't know what you are perceiving, because what I am perceiving, you are not perceiving there. So this is called as magic states. All will have impact on our perception. And this perception can hinder our critical thinking. So already we have discussed about what you call these things. And frozen mindset. Some people don't want to change. That also affects our critical thinking. Maintaining, okay, I'm stick on to one attitude and I don't want to change that. So, and especially this comes from a culture. We always done it that way, so we don't want to change. And sometimes we come with the emotional baggage, because whenever you have got emotional attachment, your critical thinking stops. So what you have to do? You have to keep emotions in check. This is where we call it as nepotism. So you do some favors, even if somebody's done something mistake, you avoid it, or you do some extra favors just because of the emotional baggage. So you have to take efforts to research both sides, then only your critical thinking can be improved. So frozen mindset or emotional baggage also have what you call impact on the critical thinking. Then workplace culture will have significant impact on the critical thinking part. Where you work, how what you call the systems, what you call function, all that will have what you call impact on the critical thinking. Policy and procedures. Sometimes they say this college is not good, very strict, very this one, not very weak. Now, how it has come? The policies and the procedures. And these policies and procedures definitely hinders your, what you call, if you think negatively, hinders your critical thinking. Even those who are working in the private sector, the management style also might hinder. You want to do something better, but management doesn't allow. That means your critical thinking is being at check. So these are the few things where you can think of how critical thinking can be affected. That's what the first part we talked about it. Now we seriously into what you call the problem solving part of it. Next few minutes we'll quickly go through that. So as we already introduced in the what you call critical thinking part, already we have introduced. Now what exactly what you call one has to what you call understand about the problem. Suppose you encounter in the problem in a college or at home. The first thing is understand the nature of the problem, how the problem is, what is the problem is about. Many times we don't go about it. How the problem has arisen, the onset, how the problem began. Many times we don't go for looking into these things, we directly go for action. So please don't do that. First understand the problem, then try to understand the onset of it, how it has started. Then what are the other factors which increase the severity of the problem? This can happen. Sometimes problem could be very small, but it has been made multifold aggravation by some of the selective parties or the elements in the college or in the nearby your near neighborhood or your relatives. Now, which are those factors? Not how to come out of that. Then you have to plan different solutions. And then out of already we have said plan ABC, which of the plan to be used, this one, and how to choose the best. If you have got a feedback, then it's easier to choose. But if you don't have a feedback, you have to experiment. But before doing experiment, many times you also all of us will be ended up with the problems. Many times we have discussed with our friends, and many what you call people are given suggestions, and ultimately you come with your own way of planning a good strategy to solve the problem. So that's where it comes about how to choose the best. So we'll continue with the same thing. We say the problem solving loop, how the loop will work. The first one, identify the problem rather than jumping to the solution. Once you identify the problem, then explore the information and create ideas. You have to know about, get to know about information. Then once you have several ideas, select the best idea. Now execute the idea, build and test the idea. Now see what happens, that is evaluating the results. If you are failure, again go back to identify a problem, what has happened. If it is cleared, then there is no problem. So this is called as a problem solving loop, where it begins with identification and evaluation and solving the problem. Of course, in between there are several what you call steps. So usually day-to-day life, what you call, there are 4 types of problems usually people encounter. So for example, one is known, problem is known, solution requires just action. In the second type, problem is known, solution requires additional expertise. Third thing is problem is known, the solution requires creative approaches. In the last part, problem is unknown, need to be identified. This is little tricky. We start with one by one. One is the problem is known, requires just action. Just an action is required. Second part is you require additional expertise to solve the problem. Third thing is you require creative approaches to solve the problem. Unknown is, we'll discuss about it. So first thing is what we talked about is known, problem is known, solution requires just action. I will get into your classroom only. Because when we see what you call these things in day-to-day life, one thing is important. If you have seen the problems, they usually stem from one cause. So what is that happening is like we cannot just get ourselves to take action. It's not that we don't know what to do. What we have to do is simply what you call one has to adopt and right mindset and self motivation, where the problem is very simple and just action is required. Now the question for you, last bench students are what you call creating problem for you inside the classroom. What is an action required rather than any three? Because problem is known, solution requires just an action. All the teachers there, are you listening to me?
Sir, normally what I'm going to do is I will make them to sit in the first bench, sir.
Okay, the problem is over because if four of them are talking backside, okay, if four of them are talking backside and you make all of, that's a one way where you make all of them to sit front or make split them into different benches, right? Four people in four different benches. The problem is solved because if there are four are there together, then they speak. So this is a very easier way. So there's a first way or a very simple one. Go to the next, what you call problem is known, solution requires additional expertise. I'll give an example then. What you call there is a student inside the class always creates problem, irritate others. You have warned them, principal has warned them, you have called parents, you have given enough punishment, still the problem is not resolved. What you are going to do? The boy is what you call irritating others, disturbing others, even after repeated warnings from your side, repeated warning from the principal and information to the parents, parental warnings also given. Still the boy continues to do that. So what is the next aspect? Problem is known. Now something more has to be done. Simple action is not enough. Anybody, quick.
Make him suspend for 1 week.
Not okay, madam. That is what you call still the boy continues. Anyone there?
Sir, we must ask that what is the problem that boy is having.
The boy doesn't know, madam. That's why if he knows, then there's no problem. Okay. The boy requires some kind of counseling from experts. That's why nowadays you can find at least in few of the schools, school counselors, school psychologists, where they can understand the problem of the child. So in one of the incident, I'll tell you what happened, and not in the college level, in one of the school level, which has happened. A girl started irritating all of them inside the class. People started scolding her. Same thing happened, as I said, enough warnings are given and the grades are started coming down. Principal called the parents and ultimately warned, if your girl is not going to be all right in the class, we have to give a TC for her. Lot of efforts made, nothing worked, and ultimately they went to psychologist. Psychologist didn't have answer. Now think of this additional expertise. He gave a clue anyway. He gave a clue. Is there any deformities are there? Ultimately, what was known that the girl had a vision problem. The girl was not able to see the board properly, the ratings, because of the vision issues. That's why she was getting irritated and started what you call irritating others, and she became a big headache. But once the problem was identified with the additional expert along with the ophthalmologist, once she was given what you call specs back, she was normal and her grades came back to normal. Now she became a good girl So this is where you require additional expertise. Anybody, we do that. When I'll give a simple example. There could be a student who is irritating and trying to boss and all the time this one. What we make him? We make him a class leader. Haven't you done that?
Yes, sir.
That's a creative thinking, because no, it's easier way to get out of it. You just choose one. Okay, if he is given the leadership, now he cannot do any such nuisance in the class. So this comes from the out of the box thinking for their solution, right? So all these things will have a lot of impact, where what you call reframing and creative thinking. It's a simple solution, but you have to creatively, because rather than punishing him is of no use, you make him a leader. That's what I have seen from childhood days, especially these primary, secondary school teachers and all. What they make? The more irritating, more what you call torturous student in the class, they make him a leader. Now he has to control the class. Earlier, we are trying to control him with a great difficulty. Now the responsibility given to the what you call to the student himself. Now imagine he is given with the responsibility. Now that's what you call assigning him a responsibility. You have thought creatively. So sometimes it could be out of the box. Anyway, we'll this one will then the fourth one is unknown need to be identified. Okay. So sometimes problem itself is unknown. So once the problem is unknown, need to be identified, then the solution also difficult. Because sometimes the situation itself is seen as what you call problem, but actually it may not be a problem at all. You may blind to a problem that doesn't let you achieve more. This can also happen. So then what you have to do? So you have to deal with this type of hidden problems requires challenging assumptions. You have to have a serious issue of asking why, what if, because since you what to call still you don't have a complete picture of the what you call problem, benchmarking and cross pollination of ideas, all this would require. So that's where what you call these are the four types, starting from you know the problem, solution requires just action. In the second level, you know the problem, you requires additional expertise. In the third level, you know the problem, but you require what you call creative approaches, out of the box solutions. And in the last part, there's a problem is unknown but need to be identified, and by challenging assumptions, asking why and what if. And before concluding the morning first talk, so we say usually turn problems into opportunities so that you can gain more. So many times what happens, don't see problems as problems, try to see it as learning opportunities. So the idea is start to believe you can. This is the first level where you can solve the problem. Then why there's a big failure comes from the individuals, because we focus on the problems but we don't focus on the finding opportunities. That's another issue. And we should think what it is that we want to achieve. Many times we are blind about it. The moment we know what to achieve, then the things are easier. Then we should know how to achieve our goal. Then how you use the what you call situation, you see from one point or both the points. Because suppose a student comes and complains with another student, don't just listen from one side, you have to listen to the other side also. Because listening one side will not make you a good critical thinker. If you're a good critical thinker, you have to ask from both sides, then you have to decide what is right or what is wrong. And make a habit like see every problem as an opportunity. The more you see that, the more you learn, and your critical learning capacity will definitely increase. So three sources of problems are our perceptions, emotions, and unclear communication. These are the sources of problems. How do we perceive itself could be a problem. Our negative emotions contributing to a problem. And when our communication is not clear, that also can contribute to problem. So on a simple level, the strategies. So try to understand them. That's what I'll put yourself in their shoes and why exactly they are doing it. Understanding their emotions and mine. So that slowly we are going to talk into the next level, emotional intelligence. Then